guns. You have no control with somebody who is able to get an AR-15, walk into your school, walk into your store, walk into your home, and blow you to smithereens. That's the difference. And that's why we should be concentrated on those particular issues. It's not about wanting to take guns away from people. It's about wanting to live. It's about wanting to not be fearful to go to a movie theater. It's about not wanting to be fearful if I go to a restaurant. It's about not wanting to be fearful for existing in a park. That's all. I am not willing to die because you think a piece of paper says your right to have an arm shall not be abridged. I am not willing to die for a piece of paper that was written by folks 200 something years ago that never had a thought that there would be people that will take an AR-15 that's not even the guns they're talking about and kill. Is that so difficult to comprehend? Is that so difficult to say, my God, humanity first, humanity first? If you, continuing with the article, if you grew up in the coal mining region of eastern Pennsylvania, your chance of dying of a gunshot is about half that if you grew up in the coal fields of West Virginia, 300 miles to the southwest. Someone living in the most rural counties of South Carolina is more than 3 times as likely to be killed by gunshot than someone living in the equally rural counties of New York's Adirondacks or the impoverished rural counties facing Mexico across the lower reaches of the Rio Grande. Think about that. These are rural areas. These are people like their guns too. The Deep South is the most deadly of the large regions at 15.6 deaths, gunshots per 100,000 residents, followed by Greater Appalachia at 13.5. That's triple and quadruple the rate of New Netherlands, New York area, the most densely populated part of the continent, which has a rate of 3.8, which is comparable to that of Switzerland. Yankeedom is the next safest at 8.6, which is about half that of the Deep South. And the left coast follows closely behind at 9. El Norte, the Midlands, Tidewater, and Far West fall in between. People, in short, it is time for us to unabashedly shame the misinformation and attack every false statement in a graphic manner. Just like I am talking about it right now, I hope that those that are listening, I hope I've been sufficiently persuasive with the mathematical facts. I hope I'm somewhat persuasive with the moral facts. I hope I'm socially persuasive in such a manner that you take a look and say, oh my God, I see it. Narrative is everything. The way people tell stories is everything. Telling a story when you see a lot of dead babies, a lot of dead children in school, there's a narrative. How can we tolerate something like that? But then another narrative comes out that says we can do nothing about it. I want you to just listen to the piece about gun violence that I had prepared.
In the face of rising mass shootings, Republican politicians have frequently shifted the narrative to gun violence in blue cities. Look at Chicago, look at Baltimore, look at New York City, they say. But if you actually look at the numbers, the actual numbers, big cities and blue states are actually a lot safer per capita. A new investigative report in Politico magazine argues gun violence is worse in red states. And according to its author, Colin Woodard, the data shows, quote, it's not even close. The New York region is far and away the safest part of the U.S. mainland when it comes to gun violence, while the regions Florida and Texas belong to have firearm death rates per capita 3 to 4 times higher than New York. That includes both homicides and suicides. Joining me now is the director of the Nationhood Lab at Salve Regina University, Colin Woodard. Colin, thanks for being here. So we hear this a lot from Republican politicians, especially during political campaigns. Look at all the violence in these blue states. Look at all the gun violence. This is why gun laws don't work. When you looked at the data, can you just explain what you saw?
Yeah, so at Nationhood Lab, we look at a lot of data that regionalism matters, because in the United States, regions are very different. And we do it using original settlement maps to understand the true cultural differences between the regions. And what we knew that gun violence would have enormous regional differences from prior scholarship, and we looked into it, and indeed, it's enormous. Regions of the country that I guess you would call blue regions are among the safest places, and amongst the most dangerous ones are some of the red regions, particularly the deep or lowland south, with rates for things like gun deaths, overall suicides and homicides that are 4 times that of the originally Dutch settled area around what's now New York City, or 2- and 3-fold differences in terms of homicides, white homicides, 6- and 7-fold differences per capita when it comes to suicides and the like. So the differences are enormous, almost like you're looking at separate countries.
That you heard that, almost like living in separate countries. So, folks, here is the ask. I have people in the chat that always say, stop just telling about the problem. Start talking about solutions. There are, in fact, solutions. When you elect a congressperson, they're out there in the legislature doing as they please. Please remember this. You have the power. You have the power. Like I said, the next election, and whether this is a local election, state election, or national election, get these people's positions on guns and make sure to elect somebody who's going to be looking out for the well-being of your mother, your father, your sister, your daughter, your brother, your wife, your husband, etc. Let's make sure that that is what's occurring, folks, and make that be your vote. You can make a change. You can stop the AR-15s from gunning down people. You can do that if you elect, because it's in your hands to do that. And likewise for healthcare, I always bring up healthcare because it's a major issue. You can determine who is going to make sure that your family, those that have been throwing why is there GoFundMe's for healthcare in America, the richest country in the world? We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.